So it's been a month since I've done a video, and I did have one planned. It was going to be my big manifesto, my entry into LeftTube. Had some production value, had a really great idea, even had someone to do the camera work for me. I was going to write a script, I had part of it written already, which is actually my strength. Writing, not just incoherent rambling. But due to my little friend, who we're going to talk about today, you get rambling. Way too wide. Way too wide. And not wide enough. Yeah, this guy needs a trim. I have to get some of you lasered off. Ugh, too veiny, so vascular. Ugh. Yep. Definitely too big. Of course, the thing that's gonna kill me in the edit. Stupid, deep voice. Now, firstly, as a sort of disclaimer, this is strictly my experience with dysphoria as a binary transgender woman. This is not to say that everyone who's trans experiences dysphoria, especially in the same ways. You know, it's very, very different. So yeah, I just want to make that clear before we start. But anyway, so what we just saw was kind of the highlight reel of basically just like the nitty-gritty physical stuff. You know, the real obvious stuff that kind of bothers me about myself. Now, I suppose for those who are uninitiated, dysphoria is it's a mental condition wherein there's discongruity between your body and your self-image and your mind that causes extreme turmoil and emotional stress. And the only accepted treatment for it is transition into the gender of your that you identify as. There's no other accepted medical treatment for it. But anyway, like I said, that's just the physical nitty-gritty. There's a more insidious part that I found. It's kind of the mental stuff. It's very similar to imposter syndrome, actually. I was talking to my sister about this I think last weekend, or maybe a little bit earlier. Anyway, I was mentioning how, you know, my transition has gone really well so far, I'm not gonna lie. Most of those things that I brought up, like, when I get really low, when I hit a depressive period, because I am bipolar, I hit manic and depressive, I'm sloping into a depressive period now, I tend to notice these things more. A lot of the times they don't bother me day to day, they're not like huge things that like really get me going. What really gets me going is this imposter syndrome and feeling like that I don't deserve to feel this way, I don't deserve to feel dysphoric and so bad about my body, especially given how well things are going for me. You know, I don't feel like I deserve to, in a way, like I don't deserve to feel that bad, like but then again, you know, that's the thing, is that the validity of struggle, it's not, you can't compare, that's why they say you can't compare apples to oranges, I guess, because, you know, just because someone might have more pressing struggles, or more, maybe pressing is not the right word, but, you know, more survival-related struggles, or different struggles, doesn't mean mine are invalidated just because I feel like I have less. But that's kind of the thing to deal with, you know, in the mind, and especially being, you know, half Asian, which I am, I feel a lot of guilt over having everything go fairly well, fairly smoothly so far. in my day-to-day, you know, I don't get misgendered very often. It's happened maybe once in the past year. Like, my proportions are very feminine. You know, I'm basically like mannequin size. So my shoe size, it went up when I switched to women's footwear. It went up about a half size. Not much. I have really narrow proportions, you know, pretty good bone structure, fairly dainty and thin. But then, you know, put me next to my sister, my mom, who, my sister is 8 inches shorter than me. I'm 6 foot. So, you put me next to these petite little cute Asian women, and I was telling my sister this weekend that, you know, sometimes I feel like an enormous freakish giant. She said, you know, that's not true. You know, you do have very, you know, womanly proportions. You're not a giant. You're not, you know, gross and huge and hairy and whatever. But it's inescapable, that feeling, you know. I can't help but feel that way. And then I feel guilty for feeling that way. Like, it's a vicious cycle that, it just feeds on itself, especially when I get in a depressive state. And basically that's why I haven't done anything in a while, because I haven't felt, you know, worth it. It's hard. It's hard not feeling like you deserve these things. And, you know, most times it's been getting better. It's been getting easier. Yeah, I've had some rough times, some good times. Every day gets better, but I still have my moments where I just, you know, I really don't like myself, and I wish I could do something, but I'm doing all I can, so. God, you see, the worst part was, to me, is like, I'm gonna post this, and I'm, like, oh God, I don't even know how to say this, like, it's that guilt again, because I feel like, well, what do you have to be, like, dysphoric about? Like, what's going on with you? Like, you're pretty, you're young, everything's going well for you, people don't misgender you, like, what do you feel like you have to be dysphoric? Like, you got nothing to be dysphoric for. Like, that's my little brain thing going. I get paranoid, and I get scared that, you know, other people are gonna think about this for me too, and, you know, that, like, I have to keep trying to tell myself that, no, like, you're allowed to feel this way. It's okay, and you're allowed to talk about it. You know, it's not good to keep it bottled up. It's fucking, God. Yeah, dysphoria is real. It's a real killer. I started seeing my psychiatrist years ago, about 3 or 4 years maybe, before I even realized that I was trans. I was seeing him for depression and anxiety. And see, I didn't know what the cause of the depression was. I didn't know why I was so dissatisfied with myself, and not understanding, you know, why I didn't feel like I fit in anywhere, and, you know, I didn't feel comfortable in my own skin. Now that I know, it's gotten easier to manage. You know, that's why they say knowing is half the battle, because once you know, then you can start to manage these things, but the management itself is still difficult. You know, I can't afford a therapist. You know, I'm a working class janitor. It's, you know, so in a way, talking like this is, you know, my cheap therapy. I know a lot of YouTubers actually, like, do this, you know, they kind of talking head, talk about their lives. You know, I'm not going to go quite that extreme as some people do, you know, but sometimes I like to have a story time. Sometimes it feels good to get this off your chest to people who you won't necessarily ever meet in real life. And, you know, I've got, like, 25 subscribers, so it's not like a whole bunch of people are gonna see I average like 100 views per video, so it's not like I'm blowing up, you know? So yeah, I guess that's kind of, you know, the bare bones of my experiences with dysphoria. And like I said, everyone's experiences with dysphoria are very different. Of course, there are many commonalities between all of us, but also, you know, some of us don't experience dysphoria. And that in itself can, ironically, be maddeningly dysphoric. Like I said, you know, I don't feel like, when I'm dysphoric, I don't feel like I deserve to feel the way I do, given how well things have gone for me, and are going for me, but that's part of it. Ultimately, what we always need to do is recognize that, you know, you are still valid, and you are allowed to have these feelings, and you know, having them or not having them, regardless, it doesn't lessen you as a person, it doesn't cheapen you. And it's something that, you know, there's no shame in. You know, it's part of who we are, and it's part of something that we struggle through. I know that I struggle through, and it can be difficult. You know, if you have a support network, reach out. You know, I'm very lucky that I have a few good close friends who I can talk to when I need to. I live with my sister, I'm very close with her. You know, I'm lucky that I have that. Not a lot of people do, and I think that is the real shame, because, you know, not all of us can afford things like therapy. So just having people can make all the difference, you know? Reaching out to someone, even if it's something as simple as going onto, you know, Reddit, going onto our male to female, into the daily chat, and just, you know, talking and reaching out and saying how you feel. Sometimes it just, all you need to do is voice it. But, I know, I guess that's the ultimate takeaway at the end, like, you know, don't be afraid, even when it's hard, because I know when I get super depressed and I get super dysphoric, I don't want to reach out, I don't want to do anything, I just want to stay, you know, in bed, in a little fetal position, and not have anyone see me. But that's not a good way to live, and it's not a way to help yourself, you know. As hard as it is, as difficult as it is, you know, just try to reach out if you can. But yeah, you know, it may be a struggle right now, and with all this coronavirus stuff going on, there's even more stress, so it's certainly not helping, but like I said, you know, reach out if you need it, you know, do what you can, and maybe it'll get better. It always does, eventually, you know, it comes in waves. It comes in waves, you just write it up, and you write it down. In these times, I always try to hold on to the idea that you never really appreciate the good times unless you've had the bad times. Otherwise, it's just flat. So, you know, hope. If you sat through that whole thing, thank you very much. I really appreciate you listening to my rambles. I don't know. Stay safe out there. Keep washing your hands. Isolate yourself if you need to be. And, I don't know. Like and subscribe if you feel like it. You don't have to.